Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. This show is one of the most interesting that I've ever done. As I film this intro and outro, I've already shot the show, so I wanted to give you a little bit of insight. I went into this fairly blind, not knowing exactly what I was getting into. Also, I didn't realize when I started filming what I was really unboxing and the level of quality and capability that this thing had. So you kind of experience throughout the video my awe and astonishment, which just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. This is the most expensive turntable that I've ever reviewed. MSRP on this thing is like $1,100 on their website. On Amazon, the price is significantly lower. And that being said, it's not without its caveats, but it's probably top 3 most interesting unboxings that I've ever done. You're not going to want to miss this. It has been a while since we reviewed a vertical record player. I think this is only the second one we've ever reviewed. And yeah, it's a novelty, obviously, but at the same time, it might be a functional and very fun novelty. So this very large box has been kicking around for a couple of weeks, and I figured it was time we open it up, see what we got. So it turned out to be a retail box inside, and this very enormous sheet laying right on top with a QR code about a video. It links to a YouTube video about how to set it up. So this is the CoolGeek VS-01 vertical record player, and some features: Bluetooth black glue. What? Vertical needle, that's a feature. High fidelity carbon fiber line. It's like random things, right? Speed with a Bluetooth symbol. Very strange. Very, very strange. Okay, so this ought to be a very interesting video. Let's open this box up. The excitement and the anticipation is palpable. And I'm only half joking because I'm so excited to see what this thing is all about. I really, really am. Okay, looking in the box here, I see an Audio-Technica 3600 on a tone arm there, which is good. I mean, I actually figured this would be a ceramic. I know a lot of other, novelty vertical turntables, just include a ceramic. But this one might actually perform well, which, wouldn't that be cool? That would be good. Power supply, wow. Looks like a laptop brick. UPC power cord. And this foam disc here. And we've got a wow, that platter is heavy. What on earth is this? Is this an acrylic platter? That'd be a big surprise. What is? Wow, this thing literally has a heavy acrylic platter. Interesting. And this, like, I would say it's like a plastic, but it's very dense. It's like a resin subplatter. And spindle shaft? That's very strange. Look at that. But that's good because, I mean, it'll be good mass inertia. And then there's like this clamp, metal screw-on padded clamp here. This might prove to be a lot more than we were bargaining on. This is interesting already. Okay, I removed a massive block of foam. And then the base is well situated in the middle there. This is very well packed. This is very well packed. And it's heavy too. Everything's very heavy duty. Seems like there's a lot of metal construction here, which is great. Hear me when I tell you that this thing is heavy. These are metal components. I don't even fully know, everything about this by a long shot yet, and I can already tell you that the build quality is phenomenal. This thing is a beast. Wow. Look at this. Did somebody make like a legit quality vertical turntable? That would be I've never seen one that wasn't, purely a novelty. Here's the foam protecting this. Look at this. This is a carbon fiber tone arm, you guys. Wow. So yeah, this is a very heavy duty metal grill. This shaft is metal. The bearing metal, that's the motor mount. The knob down here. We'll look at everything closer, but wow, this is crazy. All right, let's start with the cartridge, I guess. This is getting very intriguing, and I think it's got a built-in sound system because when I lifted it, I felt like rubber surround. So there's either a passive radiator down there or like a subwoofer. Okay, so there's a somewhat close-up shot of this interesting stamped or laser cut head shell assembly with the 3600 on there. What's interesting about this, first of all, I've never seen anything like this, but the slots are not adjustable. So the angle that the cartridge sits at is fixed. That being said, these screws would allow you, let me turn it around here. These screws would allow you to replace the cartridge with something else if you wanted to. So this is bizarre. This is really unique. Looking down here at the main gimbal here. First of all, this is metal. I think the sleeve inside there is plastic, but this appears to be carbon fiber. Yeah, there's a little bit of play there, but I wonder if that's by design. Interesting. And the counterbalance piece, I think is that metal? I can't tell if that's metal or plastic. And then it does have a cueing lift right there and a lift shelf, just like that's a rubber lined lift shelf with a neutral position, a little clip here. This is plastic construction, but look at that gorgeous grill. I wonder if that's like a speaker grill. All right, here's the top of this. I'm kind of at a loss for words because the terminology is throwing me off a bit because of the design of this. So I guess this would be the main bearing, the slot where the spindle would go. The back of this is metal. This inset piece. When you see me feeling something like this, especially with the back of my hand, typically metal is colder, and you can kind of feel what's plastic because it's plastic is warmer. I think that's metal too. I think the whole thing is metal. And then this whole assembly is metal as it should be. And then if I spin this around, you'll see it's just rounded in the back. Sort of tapered and rounded. All right, let's look at the motor mount. So the motor mount has a brass pulley there for the belt. It is belt driven. And that's about it. Very minimalistic. While we're down here, I wonder if you can see, let me move it over here, the texture. This is like a vinyl wrap. This is like a soft touch, kind of like the dashboard of a car, kind of a white Naugahyde leatherette type of material. And then also another look at the grill there. I think that's a speaker grill, but you can kind of see the construction there. And this knob with this machined edge to it, also metal. And it looks like it's got a light up, possibly, area there. And it's not a lot of drag, it's stepped. And I'm sure it functions as a button too, yeah. So it's got a click in and then it is stepped going around. Even as I film this, I keep saying, wow, wow. So metal back panel and VS-01 record player, CoolGeek. It's amazing. Designed by CoolGeek, made in China, coolgeekdesign.com. And let's look up closer. I think I see what I hope is trim pots for the motor speed. And yes, I do believe that is the case. They aren't labeled, but they are there. Even the receptacle for the power supply is metal. RCA outputs and these nice metal dip switches for the power, the preamp, so it's got a line switch, line and preamp, or a line and a phono level, and then the speed adjust 33 and 45. Those are nice. All right, here's a look at the bottom. These kind of mid-century rubber-tipped metal legs are cool. The bottom panel, I believe, is plastic, and all the screws are down here. And this appears to be a passive reflux, I think. Is that a driver? I can't tell if that's passive or active, but it is ported. So I'm guessing, yeah, we've got speakers in the front here, and this is possibly an active sub. So this is obviously the back of the tone arm, the gimbal assembly. And I want you to notice there's a little spring in there. And you may say, oh, it's a spring loaded like the LP70 or something. But I noticed in the accessories box, this this little white box that's quite heavy. So I'm going to open this up. So there is a metal counterbalance weight, and it appears to just screw in. This is probably a good time to mention the price of this thing. So on their website, by the way, they have two different turntables, a more traditional one and this. This comes in different colors. There's a green, a pink. This is the white blue version. This is an $1,100 turntable, which explains why it's so high, like high quality build, heavy duty, etc., etc. That being said, I wish that it had another cartridge. I mean, it's a fine cartridge. It's okay, but it's like a $12 cartridge on an $1,100 turntable. That being said, you can upgrade it. But if you do that and the new cartridge requires different tracking force properties, I don't know how adjustable that is. It kind of seemed to be one position for the counterbalance. And as far as anti-skate, I don't know how that applies in this scenario. Yes, it's a novelty item, but it seems to be a very well-made one. So, all right, let's put this thing together. Here's the platter and the sub-platter down there. What we're going to do next is take the belt out of this little pouch and put on basically that video on that QR code. Oh, there's two belts, so you have a replacement. That's nice. What the video on that QR code that we first saw when we opened the box was a video about how to put this on and then attach it. So basically what we're going to want to do is gently pull back on the belt to get it over that spindle, and then kind of ease this into place. We have to try that a couple of times to get it on just right. Hopefully it goes on the... Oop, it already slipped off, so I need to try that a couple of times. I think I can actually do this so that you can see what I'm doing. I don't know if I can see what I'm doing, but okay, the belt fell off. This is fiddly, but at the same time, I should only have to do this once. So I'll go ahead and put the belt down there and keep sliding this on until it is flush. Give it a few rotations. I always say it's imperative to make sure that that belt is riding in the middle of the pulley. If it's up on one edge or the other, it can impact the speed. So once it's in there, though, it seems to kind of stay in the right spot. So that's good. Okay, let's test the basic functionality. I want to, you know what, actually before we do that, I'm really curious about the tracking force. I want to see how this works. And I think the way it's set up is it's probably got added weight so that in this configuration it can actually achieve some tracking force, which in this case is pushing back. Whereas if this was somehow like this, inverted into a more typical position, this thing would probably be like really heavy because it's configured to be upright and tilting back just slightly. A little over 2 grams. Interesting. So yeah, that is a hair light. Usually you don't want to use this cartridge any less than 2.5 grams, but maybe they got it figured out. We'll see how it performs. And as for anti-skate, I guess we can just test it right on the platter. This is an acrylic platter if I haven't said it already. Let's turn it on though. So let's go ahead and just place our stylus there. Okay, and it's pulling to the middle. So yeah, I don't think there's any anti-skate in place, which is a bummer. Can you do anti-skate on a vertical? I'm not 100% sure. Here are some specs to gander at. Not seeing anything incredibly... Acupressure? The acupressure is 1.7 to 2.1 grams, which is about what we verified, although that seems awful light. Apparently if I double click this, it'll go into Bluetooth mode.
Bluetooth mode.
Indeed. And then stop spinning the platter. And then if I long press, it should shut it off.
Power off.
So yeah, pretty simple. I mean, it's Bluetooth speaker or 2-speed turntable. Alrighty, let's put a record on. I'm also curious how and if I can play a 45 with a large hole on here. Because obviously that's a smaller spindle. And this clamp, it's essentially a record clamp. Also machined metal, feels really good. But I mean, you couldn't put just like a regular, could you? Maybe you can. Yeah, we'll try it. We'll try that. But first we're going to listen to this. This is a good bass line. This is the Future Sound Shock by Enoch Light. And we're just going to screw it on right there. If you haven't ever seen a vertical turntable in person, they're not completely vertical. So if I turn this, I put the clip there. If I turn this to the side, you'll see that it leans back a little bit. So there is a bit of, downforce and gravity going on here. But like I said, it probably is weighted completely different than a regular one. And it has a spring. So it's got a counterbalance and a spring, which is interesting. Okay, first impressions. I mean, just to the naked ear here, I'm not sure how this is coming across on camera. It sounds good. It does sound good. It's very punchy. It sounds like there's a lot of power in the speakers. And there is some bass. I'm a little disappointed in the bass response. I thought it would be like blow me away with the bass, especially with that, subwoofer thing on the bottom. But it's good. It is good. It's not just acceptable. It's good, but it's not spectacular. First impression, though. Let's go ahead and drop the needle again. Also, it is awkward to manually cue. Okay, I just thought of something very exciting. Now, yeah, it sounds good and it's very cool design, but I had an epiphany. Look at the size of this disc in relation to the tone arm. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? 12-inch record, clearly about 3 or 4 inches of room here. This thing can totally handle a 16-inch record, a transcription disc. I am almost positive. So I am going to unearth one of my AFRS transcriptions. Try it out on here. Why not? Why not? Can this possibly be my first transcription player? Yes, it works. It actually fits perfectly. I've even got about 3/4 of an inch clearance down there. And from the side, there's plenty of clearance because of the angle that this thing is setting at. It can drop down in front of this grill, no problem. So now I'm getting real excited because I have a transcription player, something I have wanted to add to my collection for years, but been unable to. I only have 2 of these 16-inch discs right now, but now that I have a way to play them, maybe I'll keep an eye out for more. And they are 33 RPM, so you only need a 2-speed turntable. They do use it's a mono track, because these are late World War II era, so 44, 45, these particular 2 that I have. And as such, they're mono, but these, and they are a wide groove, so you need a special stylus, and I'll show you that in a minute. But they are vinyl, and they are 33 1/3 RPM, just like a contemporary record. Before the 33 RPM format was released to the public in the late 40s, 1948, by Columbia, it was the standard for radio transcriptions for years and years, all the way back to the 30s. So, yeah, something that's pretty interesting. So, 33 RPM, 16-inch disc. As you can imagine, this holds a lot of information. I'm also going to be using this now for my own purposes to dub these. And I may post videos with the audio from these too, but now I've got a good way to do it. I think the tone arm is long enough that the tracking angle will be correct or close enough for the purposes of this. At some point, I would like to upgrade the cartridge to a mono cartridge. This has the 3600 on it, which, as you know, is a stereo cartridge. I did put another stylus on this. So the stock one is the stereo micro groove gray housing one, and this is a Fan Steel brand wide groove 3mm non-micro groove stylus. So it will fill the groove because these are not micro groove records. And the only downside is that in a mono record, there's only left to right modulation. There's no vertical modulation. And ideally, if you're picking up music from a groove that's only horizontally modulated, you don't want a cartridge with any vertical modulation or compliance in there. So it's not 100% ideal, but it should sound fine for most people's purposes. That being said, I could remedy it by putting on a mono cartridge. That would be easy enough. Okay. All right. So there's a little bit of a limitation because of the fact that the tone arm is in the rest. See how it's in the rest in that position down here? Therefore, it can't lower enough to touch the record. So it needs to drop right here, but that rest is in the way. So I have to rotate it further over, which is a bummer, but oh well. Well, I mean, ultimately I could get rid of this clip, but I'm not going to, at least not right now. It's really interesting. At the end of the program, these records have a non-locked run-out groove followed by about 30 seconds of silent groove followed by another run-out groove. All right, that just made my day. That was really, really exciting. So yeah, something to play with for sure. Okay, I'm going to check the speed on this. We do have those trim pots, which is nice, but I'm curious how accurate it is out of the gate. It sounds, to my naked ears, it sounds like pitch-wise pretty dang good, but let's double check the accuracy of the speed. So I changed the lights to an incandescent light source. This will be 33 RPM and this will be 45. So let's spin it up to 33 to begin with. Again, this is adjustable, so if we need to make that adjustment, we can. Yeah, it's moving a hair to what would normally be the left. From this angle, it's up. So that means it is a hair fast, but I can live with that. That's pretty much going to be an inaudible amount. Let's go ahead and flip the speeds to 45 now. Yeah, just a hair fast. So these are numbers I can live with. And again, we can trim it up if we want to. I've also learned that one tap on this button down here acts as an on and off switch. So that's cool. All right, we have to try some visually interesting discs, like picture discs and whatnot. In their little demo video that QR code linked to, they demonstrate it with a Zoetrope record. I don't actually have any Zoetrope records. I need to rectify that situation. But yeah, that just looks cool. Sort of an interesting perspective here. We can also check out the platter wobble. I don't see like any platter wobble. This thing's amazing. This is really cool. Man, I really wish the speakers that were built in were better. They're not bad, it's just they're not great. You know what I mean? All right, so what happens if you want to try and play a 7-inch record? Also available in the original style, but will it work here? My initial thought was it would be too thick, but it looks like this might actually work. So you put the adapter on, put the record on, and there is still a few threads that you can screw this into, or onto, I should say. Actually, it's a little too thick. It didn't want to bite. So depending on the thickness of your 45 adapter, you may have to resort to a spider. I don't like spider adapters. I don't even have any, I don't think, right now, but I have these terrible steel flat adapters, so you would just put that on. The reason why you would want this type is because it's flat. So go like that, change the speed to 45. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay, time for a direct feed sound test, our final test of the day, and I'll give you my final thoughts in the outro. right, my friends. So final thoughts. I'm blown away by this thing. It's really cool, really fun. I'm absolutely going to hang on to it. If nothing else than to have something that'll play 16-inch transcription discs. I still have to figure out sort of the tone arm clip thing getting in the way of the beginning of the record, but I think that's manageable. The speakers, I wish they were better. I wish that they would have put a higher end cartridge on there. So, you know, $1,100 turntable with a $12 cartridge. And that cartridge is the most important part of anything. It's the one thing that you want to be the best. And while there's nothing wrong with the 3600, I love it. I would have liked to see something maybe a little bit higher end there in its place. Also, I feel that you have to be very careful when operating this not to damage your records, not due to tracking force or any fault of the design, but rather the way that you queue up a record from like directly over the top of it, essentially looking down on it, is very different. And so the way that you handle things needs to adapt. I would not, you'll see me in the video, or you saw me in the video doing a lot of manual queuing. Don't manually queue anything. Do everything with the queuing lever. Otherwise you will scratch and it will, you know, skid across the grooves, and it's very cringy when that happens. I hate that feeling and sound. But you can avoid that by using that queuing lever. It's there for a reason, right? Even though the finger lift on the actual head shell assembly is there, don't use that. That's not something that you want to mess with whatsoever. So it's very expensive, and I could argue that it's expensive for what it is, even though I think it's built fantastically and it sounds great, and it offers, you know, 16-inch record playback, which nothing in this price range usually can offer you for a new product. I mean, you're looking at many thousands of dollars typically for a transcription player alone. So, you know, there's a lot going on here. I do think that the price on Amazon is a little bit more in line with reality, and I wish that it was priced even lower than that, just so more people get their hands on it. There's a lot of novelty only vertical turntables out there. This one is novelty with function. It's built with quality materials, and you know, the end product isn't just a novelty. It's a piece of art, something that the company prides themselves on, in addition to being something that's functional and sounds good. So it's this kind of strange mix. Usually it's either form or function. It's rare that, you know, you try to do both well at the same time. So anyway, I hope this was interesting for you. Hopefully it was helpful. If you're interested in getting this, let me know down in the comments below why. If you already have a vertical player or you know of a really good one, let me know that as well. Also, don't forget those 45 adapters. We are changing the exclusive color coming up very soon to a Christmas themed one. So if you want that cranberry one, you might want to act sooner than later. But that's going to do it for today, guys. So happy record hunting, and we'll see you next time.